You picked up a camera because you wanted freedom. You wanted to be your own boss, set your own schedule, make beautiful work, and get paid well for it. So why does this feel like a trap? Why are you still chasing the next house, competing on price, and working harder than you ever did at a 9-to-5? The answer is simpler than you think, and it has nothing to do with whether or not you have an FX3. Let me tell you what happened to me. I picked up a camera because I loved it. I love the craft. I love making videos that moved people, that inspired people, made you feel something when you watched them. And somewhere along the way, I made the decision I was going to become the best real estate videographer on the planet. That was the goal. Every decision I made, every piece of gear I bought, every technique I learned, every YouTube tutorial I watched, every course I invested in was in service of that one thing. How do I become the best? And it sounds noble, right? Everybody wants to be world class. Everybody wants to be the best in their market. So I chased it for years. For years, I refined my shooting, I dialed in my editing, and I built a style that people recognized. And I got pretty good, like really good. But you know what happened? Realtors still couldn't afford me. No matter how good I got, no matter how polished the work was, I was still walking into meetings with agents who were doing the math in their head saying, I can't justify this. And I just didn't get it. I didn't understand why. Here's what's wild about this industry. The opportunity is absolutely massive, but most creators never see it because they're too busy shooting houses to look up. Industry data shows that 73% of homeowners say they prefer agents who use video to market their listings. 73%. That's 3 out of 4 sellers that want video on their home. And how many agents actually use video? 18%. 18. And of that 18%, the vast majority of them do a very poor job. That is not a gap anymore. That's a canyon. 73% of sellers want video and only 18% of do it. Realtors, if you're watching this, if you want to beat the remaining 82% of agents in your market, just do video. And here's the deal. If you're a creator, you're standing in the middle of one of the biggest supply-demand mismatches in real estate marketing. Listings with a professional video and a full listing media package sell up to 31% faster than listings without. On a $400,000 home, that's the difference between sitting on the market for months and getting an offer in weeks. And here's the kicker. 70% of agents spend less than $1,000 a year on listing marketing. $1,000 total. That's not per listing, that's per year. So the opportunity isn't just how do I find more clients? The opportunity is how do I become so valuable that agents can't afford not to work with me? And that requires understanding the business, not just the camera. Now I know what you're thinking. I got into this because I want to be creative. I don't want to think about business. I want to make great work. I hear you. I felt the same way. But here's what I learned the hard way. Understanding the business doesn't make you less creative. It makes your creative work actually matter. Because when you understand your client's world, every creative decision then has a reason behind it. Let me give you an example. When I didn't understand agent economics at all, I would walk into a meeting and quote my price and hope they said yes. That was my whole strategy. Hope. But once I understood the math of what agents actually take home, everything started to change for me. On a $500,000 listing, after the broker takes their cut, after taxes, after expenses, the agent walks away with somewhere between $3,000 and $5,000. That's it, 30 cents on the dollar. So when you quote $1,000 for a video on that listing, you're asking for 20 to 30% of what they actually earn. No wonder it feels expensive to them. It is expensive. But on a $1 million listing, they're taking home $7,000 to $10,000. Now your $1,500 package is 15 to 20% of their take home. A little easier conversation, but still pretty expensive. What happens on a $5 million listing? They're taking home $40,000, $50,000. Your $3,000 campaign that helps sell the house 30% faster is less than 8% of their commission. That's no longer just an expense. That's an actual investment. You don't learn this kind of stuff from a YouTube tutorial on camera settings. You learn this by understanding the business that your clients are actually in. And when you understand their world, you stop hoping and you start knowing. Understanding their world changes how you show up in every single meeting. And here's the part that nobody talks about. At some point, every creator in this space is going to hit a fork in the road. And if you don't see it coming, it's going to make the decision for you. On one side, you've got the boutique path. Fewer clients, higher prices, premium creative work. You shoot 1 or 2 homes a week, you charge $2,000 to $5,000 per project, and you keep most of what you earn. You stay small, you stay lean, you stay creative. On the other side, you've got the volume path, more clients, lower prices, systems, and teams. You hire shooters, hire editors, and you process 20, 30, 40 properties a week. The revenue looks incredible, but the profit margins are thin. And then you end up becoming a manager, not a creator. Now look, both paths work. Both can make you great money. I'm not saying that you should be one or you should be the other, but they require completely different systems, completely different pricing, and completely different mindsets. The problem is when you get stuck in the middle. You're charging high prices on work that it can't be scaled because high quality work requires more time to create. Or you're doing volume style, lower quality work, but then trying to price it like your boutique. That is no man's land. That's where burnout lives. And if you haven't experienced yet, I promise you, you will. Understanding the business is what gives you the clarity to choose your path on purpose instead of falling into one by accident. So here's the reframe. You didn't pick up a camera just to become a business person. I get that. But understanding the business is what turns your camera into freedom instead of a trap. When you understand what agents actually earn, you price with confidence instead of guessing. And no, I'm not saying charge based on the listing price. I'm saying understand what they stand to make if everything goes to plan. And when you understand the different types of content and what each one is supposed to do, you walk into meetings with strategy instead of just a price sheet. And when you can see the fork in the road before it gets to you, then you can choose your path before letting it choose you. That is the freedom paradox. The freedom you wanted from the camera, it actually comes from understanding the business behind it. And the best part is you don't have to figure this out alone. If you want to go deeper on this, I've got a free community called the Signature Creator Community. It's where I'll be hanging out with other real estate media creators, sharing stuff like this and answering questions. And if you got any value from this video, feel free to come join us. The link is in the description. And remember, the camera gives you the skill, the business gives you the freedom. I'll see you in the next one.